Okay, let's see if that's out the right way up. All right. Facebook is changing some settings, I think, and causing some mischief the last couple days. Let's see. Oh, I'm still upside down. Why? Am I still upside down? No, I'm right side up now. Okay. Yeesh. All right. I'll maybe just cut that part off before I post my video if I can figure out how to do that. Anyway, hello everybody. I'm live now. I am just gonna make sure my sound's working. Okay, it is. I'm just gonna stand this video and then see if I can see comments. Oh, I can see Kim's comment. Okay, good. I see Michelle. Hello, Kim. Hello, Michelle. This looks okay. I have it at a higher angle than normal just because I'm going to be doing a gift bag. And I want to make sure you guys can see. I will zoom in when we get to the coloring part. But I want to make sure you guys can kind of see my whole surface. I know it's kind of a strange angle. So if it's bothering somebody, just let me know. Hi, Mary Pat. Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to class. I think I'm class number 3, I believe. We are going to do something a little different today. So smoothie or crumble. I don't know what you mean by that. Am I missing something here? Smooth, I think. You talking about cookies? Oh, I'm getting it now. My brains took a moment there. Yes, I think I like smooth. I think that's what you're asking. Don't know for sure, Michelle. Oh, you had a smoothie. Okay. All right. That makes more sense. I'm like, I don't know. You're talking about crumbled cookie or smoothies? It's a hard choice. Anyway, we're going to move on. I think I'm class number 3 today. We are going to do something a little different today. I want to make a gift bag. And I'm going to do something what's called spot coloring, which means we're not coloring the whole images. Oh, geez, okay, well, no, I changed my mind then. Apple crumble. Apple crumble all the way. But you chose the smoothie. Good for you. I haven't had anything but a Coke yet. So I'm a little giddy, obviously, too. We are going to do class number 3. We're going to use Yummy Christmas, which is my favorite Christmas set that Sabrina's ever made. I do like the birds one too, the Christmas birds, but there's just something so whimsical about these. They remind me of just like Disney almost in a way. I'm not quite sure why, but they do. So we're going to be using Yummy Christmas. I made a few masks. I know I didn't have a supplies list beforehand. I apologize. Just kind of flying by the seat of my pants again. I'll have a supply list after, if that works for everybody. But we are going to use all 4 images. I didn't use the gingerbread house. You can if you want. If you're playing along. We also are going to be using the Yummy Christmas and the Postage Stamp stencil are on sale. I'm just using the masks this time. For now. I may bring in the stencil too. And I just added some sticky removable tape to the back of them. Just make them a little stickier for myself. I know this one's not on sale, but I also want something for my background. So I like Geo3 or I would only probably pick a 1-layer stencil unless you're very good at lining things up. But I like Geo3. I believe Daring Dashes is on sale, and there was another one that's the diamonds. I might have got the names wrong on that. Those are on sale, so if you want to pull those out instead, you can. But we are going to basically use this for our whole background, and we're going to use the masks to mask off areas for our little gingerbread people. Gift bag wise, I have a gift bag I actually get them from Canadian Tire if you're Canadian. They usually come in a pack of 12. And I would recommend if you are getting some gift bags, get a few of the same type. Because you may want to just see what your markers do on the surface. You can use almost anything on this. Colored pencils work really great. Copics do bleed. You can use them. I have used them before, but they do bleed, so you have to be really careful of how light you are, so I'm not using those today. But I'm just going to pull in some paint pens. So Posca, if you're familiar, are they're a marker with paint in them. You can always use, again, sorry, I know that's kind of an extreme angle. Once I zoom in, it probably won't look so extreme, like it look like I'm falling off the table here. I'm going to use Posca's, gel pens, things that are opaque today. I thought, let's go with opaque. And ink-wise, I'm going to be using Berry Bliss, which is one of my favorites, for a dark color. We're going to use that to stamp our images in. Tranquil Teal, I just thought those go well together on, you want darker colors on this type of paper. For if you're using like a brown, you need to use dark colors. I'm also going to be pulling in, hello Florence, happy Saturday, some Yeti Lawn Fawn pigment ink, just because I want a little bit of a opacity to my ink pads, so I'll show you how I'm going to do that. It's going to make them look a little bit more like a pastel color, which is kind of what I'm going for. I couldn't put on Tranquil Teal and make it look pastel, but if I add white to my Tranquil Teal, I can make it look almost pastel-like. Anyway, sorry, I couldn't backtrack a little bit to what I was saying. I would grab more than one bag if you're doing this, just so you can play around with different mediums. So this morning, this was kind of just what I basically came up with. It's not necessarily what we're going to do. I just wanted to see how things worked on this bag. So the pink, okay, I'll zoom in a little bit here. The pink and stuff like that shows up pretty well. Same with the, because they're paint markers. Sorry, I'm just going to zoom in. I have to go behind to zoom in. Oh, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. Okay, and then I'll go move over here. I don't know if I like this angle, so I might just move it down. I wish there was a way to do it in between 90% and 67. Sorry guys, I even tried to do this beforehand so that, now I've got to zoom out again. So it wouldn't be so, okay. Gotta love when things aren't working properly. I might have to get a new tripod. Alright, you can kind of see what I mean is, like, anywhere where there's a paint pen is very opaque. If you use Copics on there, it is going to, you have to use darker colors, like I said. You're not going to get those bright colors that you're going to get with the paint pens. The other things you can use, I use Zig just on the corner here, just I used a little Zig marker just to see if it would work, and that works fine. You can't dilute it, and you can't move the ink like you can on other papers, just because this is so absorbable. But that's an option. If you do use Copics on this, you gotta also be aware that it's gonna suck up a lot of ink, because this is not made for that type of medium. But anyway, we're gonna get started here. Now I'm zoomed in, so I gotta rearrange everything. And for stamping my images, I am going to use a stamp block, so that's also something you need. Some sponges. You can kind of see all my supplies there. I'm gonna move my laptop out a little bit more. First, I'm at a different angle. Okay, so okay. Well, I might play with the angles a few times, guys. Again, I apologize if I'm making anyone seasick by that, but I just want to make sure that you're seeing everything properly. What we're going to start off with is kind of planning out where I want my stamps. So I'm going to pull out my masks that I already made this morning with the Yummy Christmas. And I like to kind of just play around with where I want to put things. So the nice thing about having masks is kind of just deciding where do I want my characters. So I'm going to put this one here, just roughly. I'm going to use the snowman. One. Up in this corner. This little guy I'm gonna put here. And I thought I might as well do them all. So, again, it doesn't take long to do the coloring today because we're not doing a full coloring project. So now that I see this, I might put this one a little bit down further, just maybe over a bit. So not exactly in the middle. All right, thanks Kim for putting those links in. Good, I am seeing comments on my laptop, but just not seeing them on my computer or on my phone for some reason this morning. And then I'm going to pull in my masks. I'm going to start probably at the top corner and work my way down. Because our stencil is smaller than the bag, I just have to be aware of lining things up. So I'm going to start by, I think I can use the square one on him. Yeah, he fits in the square. And I put the mask down at the top here. And I'm going to use the rectangle one here. And then I am just going to pull in a little bit of Posca tape. To hold my bag down, but also just so that I kind of know where my line is. That might be actually too far down anyway for it to matter. So I'm more using it to hold my bag down. I'm going to pull in my stencil. And as you see, wherever the masks are not going to be where the ink's going to go. That's the point of having a mask. And I'm not worried if it's not perfect. It's a gift bag after all. So some people might be like, why are you decorating a gift bag? And, you know, somebody's going to probably end up tossing it. Because my sister-in-law and my Nana like to keep everything. So they will keep these gift bags and they will reuse them. So you just have to find the people who might want to keep those things. Also, it's fun. It's kind of fun just to do a new medium, right? Something a little different. Push that up a bit. All right, so I'm going to take my Berry Bliss and a dauber. And I'm just going to make sure, I'm going to start in this top corner here. And I'm okay going over my mask because that's what it's there for. It's a nice dark color, so it shows up really well on the brown. The other thing you have to be aware of when you're planning your project is these strings bump up, so it's not ideal to stamp over them. So I tend to leave the top, like middle section here, just blank. Just because where the bumps of the cord is for the string, it does tend to make it a little bit more difficult to stamp on. I made that mistake once too many times. The other thing you can do for your bag is if you decided you only wanted to do one image, is you could always just stamp like whatever you want in the middle. You can decorate with paper. You just think of this like a big card or a scrapbook page. You can do whatever you want here, right? So I am trying to keep the edge here soft where this is. I don't want to touch this too much because when I go to line up, I want to make sure that I can line up and it's not going to be such a harsh line. We're going to take that off and then we're going to move this over. Okay. As you can see, I didn't necessarily need to tape that down, but I didn't know at the time. So now I'm going to take my stencil, and I can kind of see right there is a good spot where we can line up again. I got some on the string, but that's okay. What I can do after is I could always ink up the string too. So I'll show you that. Our inks like to absorb into things nicely like this, so you can use it to dye fibers. And Berry Bliss is a very strong color, so I'm going to get it everywhere on me. That's the fun of inking now. Here's where I wanted my string was, or my line was, just so that I didn't, like I said, go down there. But it's okay. So I'm just going to line this up. Hope I'm making sense. Let me start this corner and work my way down and over. Okay, so I know we've been already kind of talking about Christmas stuff this morning, like Christmas songs. Oops. I'll place my mask back in. It slipped out. But another reason why I haven't stamped yet is I can just go back in and fix this. All right. That one slipped too, but luckily I had inked everything up before I did, so we're okay. Okay. Place that back in position. You may want to go from the mask over to your stencil, just so that you don't move your mask too much. So, what's everyone doing today? It's a nice, beautiful Saturday here in Alberta. I mean, it's a little bit overcast, but I'm okay with that. It's been kind of hot, so I'm okay with it being a bit overcast today. I'm hoping after I'm done my class to go out and do some mural hunting. I like to do that on the weekend, just so I can go kind of earlier in the day when it's not so crazy on Saturday nights on these downtown areas. But that's my plan after this, and then I had to come home and do a whole bunch of cleaning. I think all of you probably saw this morning. I got a new kitty coming my way, so I need to clean up stuff from my previous kitty just to make sure that I don't think she had anything contagious. But since she passed away unexpectedly, well, she didn't pass away unexpectedly. She was sick unexpectedly, and I didn't really get a clear answer why she was sick. I just want to make sure that with this new kitty, I'm not spreading something to her. So now I'm just lining up my stencil again, but I gotta move my masks. Not really working with my Post-it note very well. So, sorry guys, just try and plan that out. Actually, I do need to keep that mask where it was. So let's put that back in place. So this is where having more than one of the same stencil is helpful. So when we have sales like this right now, and you want to make a project like this, and you don't have necessarily, like I don't have a stencil for him, so I'm going to have to come back after I do the top half here. I'm going to have to come back and do him. So I got to be really careful that I'm paying attention to that so that I make sure that things are lining up properly. Oh, just gonna put more Post-it or more tape on the back of this one because it seems to be a tricky one today. It's not my favorite repositionable tape, but it's what I have right now. So I'm trying to use what I have instead of buying a bunch of new stuff. That way I can save money up for like things I actually want, like stamps and stencils. All right. Yeah, so this gentleman came into the clinic. He's unfortunately not well. I'm sad for him. And I had mentioned that maybe I can take her. So she came into the clinic so I could have some time with her. I'm not going to worry about putting my mask down right now. I know that in the square, my image is going to go there. So I kind of changed plans here. Anyway, this gentleman's not feeling well, and he can't take good care of her right now, so he's asked us for help to find somebody to take her. And I wasn't quite going to take a kitty quite yet, as Kim mentioned this morning. I thought you were going to wait, and I was, but it's very quiet in my house without a kitty, and I have not been without a fur baby in probably 24 years. So I've always tried to kind of, okay, with when my dog was getting older, I had my cat, those type of things, so that I was never quite alone. So it was a hard couple weeks. I know it's only been a couple weeks, but again, I usually am never alone like that. So I adopted, or at least she came in the clinic. My boss told me spend some time with her, see if you really want to do this, because she's a little bit worried that I'm not quite ready yet. And I'm like, no, I am. So she's going to come home to me on either Monday or Tuesday. Just got to, like I said, do some cleaning. Just realized this Post-it tape down here. I'm going to have to move my stencil again. But that's the perfect thing about a stencil. So I just keep going till, okay, so, okay. You know what? I'm changing my plan for this one too. Because I need a mask down there, and so I'm going to see if this one will fit. Oh, look, it does. So we're going to use this one for this one. So it could be a random oval shape, but that's okay. Next time I plan out a project like this, I probably would have it done beforehand. Oh, it's okay. So that I can make sure that I am getting everything covered up. There. Now I don't have to worry. Okay, I'm gonna line this up again. And the nice thing is I'm kind of just using the diamonds in the stencil, because that's telling me where I can line up my lines. That's why I like using geometric shapes for things like this. I just find it easier to line things up. I think if you had a 2-layer stencil, it might be a little bit difficult in a project when you're doing this. But maybe you guys are more talented than me lining things up. I know I'm not the best. I don't even care if it's not perfect, so again, but it is nice to kind of do the whole bag. And what I would probably do is I wouldn't necessarily do the back of the bag, but you can. I would only do like, either just do this and not do the masking. Go. Put this here. There's ink. Need to find new ways to do things. Sometimes we just kind of gotta go with the flow too. Okay. Anyway, her name's Sweet Pea. She's 5 years old, so it's kind of like, you know, people like, oh, you're not gonna get a kitten? No, I don't want a kitten. I want an adult cat. Something that's been, you know, litter trained and established a little bit that, you know, they have a history, so I know what their personality is like before I adopt. That's always kind of beneficial. It is exciting. I wasn't, you know, I kind of debated back and forth on whether this was the right move for me right now, but I think it is. When we originally said, you know, maybe we'll get the rescue to take her instead, it just made me kind of feel, no, I don't want to do that. And that made my decision clear. I'm like, okay, if I don't want the rescue, then where else is this kitty gonna go? So she's gonna go home with me. Hello, Delise. I am flying by the seat of my pants today, but it's so far, I think, working okay. It's always an interesting time sometimes when I'm doing that. Delise has the talent to just kind of just make projects, and I always impress because I usually have to plan things out better than this. Although I think the last few videos, whenever I've uploaded them, I'm like, oh, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. So this isn't the first time. This won't be the last time. Okay, so I just have to do down here, and then I'm done the inking part. Oop. Again, you just try and line up with the lines the best you can. It's not too hard because, again, it's a geometric shape, so once you get in place, it's not too difficult. Yeah, sure. 3 falling, sure. We'll go with that. Next project's gonna be planned out. Okay. All right, and again, because this repositionable tape isn't the best, my mask has come off again. So I just put it back in place, and then almost done. The Postage stencil set or the Geo? Because I love this Geo. I've used it so many times. It's one of my favorites because it almost looks like they got little geometric hearts in it, and I like that too. All right, just somewhat over here. Not really worried about it, actually. If I get darker areas, lighter areas, that's fine. I'm just really sure I'm holding my mask down. All right, I'm calling that. Okay. So now when we pull off our mask, we should be able to see all the areas we left. And yes, I do still need my Post-it characters eventually here. But there, we got the whole bag decorated. I love the color. You had the Geo. I thought you did. The Postage stamp has masks and the outlines. So you can see at the top corner where I'm putting my mask right now. So I do like having masks in shapes like this, so that's fun. Okay, and I have so much Berry Bliss on my hands, but that's okay. That's what alcohol's for after. Hand sanitizer can help too. All right, so now we are going to go and stamp our stamps so that I can figure out where things are going better. So I have tried in my Misty to put the bag in. It doesn't work. So I am going to, oh, am I paused? Uh-oh. Okay, good. It's just really delayed. Okay. I am turning my Misty upside down because I like this because it's squishy. Yes, it is a perfect color with craft. I do like that I have an edge here, but I should have probably had it all the way down. So I'll fix that after and up here. Worst case, I can always just ink blend. It's fine. I'll figure it out later. Pay more attention than I was there. It's always harder when you teach in class to kind of pay attention to exactly where your things are. So I personally kind of like this brown line. So if I was going to do this again, I might just like tape around the whole bag. And that way there's got a brown border. It's kind of nice actually. But since I didn't do it on everything, it kind of looks like I missed right now, which I did. Okay, so now I'm going to remember where all my stamps go. I'm pretty sure I remember. All right, so I'm going to start. I'm just going to stamp them in the same ink I used to make my background. So Berry Bliss again. And the line is right here for this, so I gotta... Hopefully this will, yeah, good. Okay. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, there is a bump here. That's where the bag is attaching to the string. So I'm trying to avoid there, where it's only right here in the corner, so it should be fine. Oop. And I'm just gonna put my stamp down about there, and I'm gonna stamp with intention. And I got, again, the squishy of the Misty on the back here helps with the stamp. It's not perfect. It's okay. I can draw in my lines if needed. And then lift up. Yeah, it's not perfect, but then I'm going to take a marker and draw in my lines if that's the case. That's why I like using the Misty, so I can double stamp, but the bag doesn't fit. Oh, I don't need to re-ink that pipe. You can tell I'm used to the Misty. Okay. And I know what I consider the brother and sister are in the middle, because they're my favorite. Said this one time when I colored the stamp set before, it was, I feel like it's a brother who accidentally hurt his sister, and he's like, here's a bow to cover. Oh, did it go in the middle? Yeah, that's where they meant. A bow so that he can hide the fact that he hurt his sister. I don't know, it was a weird comment I made, and decided that's the backstory of these two is, it's a brother going, sorry I hurt you, here's a little accessory for your dress. And they're all good now. Okay, that one stamped better. It's the middle of the bag. Yeah, it's definitely the case. So that's why I'm like, well, it's pretty easy if you get most of the ink on the stamp and you get mostly on there. You should be able to go in with a pen and just draw in your lines. I did this morning on one that didn't stamp properly, so. Okay, he goes over here. Kind of silly that I have one oval and everything else is square and rectangle, so. Again, I would probably next time just make sure that one of the other characters has like either a circle or an oval. Oopsie, I missed the whole middle of that. I'm going to try and stamp it again. I'm not always the best at that. But probably a bad idea. But if I mess it up, I mess it up. Nope, still didn't stamp. That's okay, I'll just draw it in. It's when you need the bigger Misty, but it's so big, and I don't think I've ever seen it in stores. But there is one that you can use for scrapbooking that's huge. Hello, Marguerite. Welcome. Just doing something a little bit different today. Instead of making a card, I'm making a gift bag. Okay. Again, stamp with intention and leave it down for a few minutes. That's part of my problem here. Or not a few minutes, a few seconds, I mean. Oh, probably. Probably Michelle. I'm going to unfold it and stuff like that, but I think a lot of it is, honestly, it's just making sure you stamp really well. And, like I said, if it bugs you that you have to draw in the lines, yeah. Oh, I should look at like a different company. I didn't even think of that, Kim. So not everything's stamped perfectly, and that's okay. Honestly, it's a gift bag too. So you don't necessarily always have to. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to just quickly draw in the lines. Am I zoomed in enough? Maybe I'll zoom in a bit. There you go. I just have to know where I am on my screen. Give me a moment here. And you guys can see. Sorry, the computer has a huge delay. Okay, so I'm in the top corner right now. I am just taking a red, like fine liner, and I'm just going to draw in my lines again. You won't even notice. I chose the red instead of a like cranberry color that I used to stamp the image because I didn't have one. But I'm just going over her lines. I can mostly see where I missed stamped here, so. And you can always add your own secret lines in if you're not 100% sure. I usually put the stamp set in place too, so I can make sure that I actually, you know, trying to follow Sabrina's lovely lines, but this one was easy, so I could see exactly where I needed to draw them back in. And probably no one will be any of the where. Oh, and I'm off camera. I'm sorry. Alright, I'm going to go down here. I'm going to pull in my stamp set. Just going to see, like I said, my camera has such a huge delay. Okay, further. Okay, so I need to almost be in the top corner of my bag right now. On my screen. Alright. So this is where I pull in the stamp set. So I can see where Sabrina drew her lines. And again, no one but me is going to probably be aware that I didn't stamp this properly once I get this on. And there's just little buttons. I'm just connecting the lines that misstamped here. This wasn't too bad. Just mostly his shirt was missing. But as you can see, I just kind of follow what she did. She did that. It looks like I got everything. There's a little marker there. Okay. Okay, I'll have to look into the Hampton one. Thanks, girls. So now that I'm doing some art journaling too, it wouldn't be a bad idea for me to have a bigger stamping platform. So I could have re-stamped that. All right, and then this little girl, pull in my stamp again. I'll just put her up there so you guys can hopefully see. And I mostly missed her arm here. If you get the, oops, that's okay. If you get the multiple bags like I do from Canadian Tire, if it was really bothering you and you're like, I really stamped horribly, you can always go grab another one. But I think might as well make do with what I've done already, since I did all that inking. And there wasn't that much I had to redraw in here, so here. Yeah, the Misty is overpriced. I'll agree with that too. Just what I can find sometimes. Canada, we don't always get everything. So, again, I'll have to check the Hampton because I think that's at Walmart. I'm going to just zoom out just a little bit because it's a little close here. Don't know where everything is when I'm that zoomed in. Okay, computer, come on, catch up. Catch up. Okay, zooming in, zooming out. All right. All right, so now we got kind of a basic layout going. I am going to pull in my Poscas, and I'm going to put the stamp away because I'm going to use my little block here. Actually, I'm going to pull in a little piece of plastic that I use just to prime my pins. It's an art block. Put all the stamps back away. Like I said, I have so much ink all over me, but that's the fun of crafting sometimes. All right. If you don't have inky hands, are you even doing it right, right? Okay. Put this in. The delay on the camera is so much. Okay. This is a piece of plastic shelf liner. I use it because I can wash it off after. I'm going to start by just priming. Sometimes you have to give these pens a good shake. And then you can prime the nib. And then I just dab a little bit just so it's not so juicy. And I am using light pink from Posca. This is a 0.7 millimeter PC 1M bullet shape. And I'm going to just start figuring out where I want to put this. So her dress, I want in the pink. So just go in and color it like you would anything else. This will go over your lines, just as a heads up, because it's opaque, which means that it will cover anything underneath it. So I usually just go in, line where my lines are. Again, you can always add them back in, like I said, with the gel pen after. If you feel like you went into the lines too much. You can also layer with these, which is nice. So you can always let the layer dry, then you can add ink over top. Okay, and then under here. I'm going to say that she has just her little hand sticking out. Like this is a dress, long sleeve dress. I'm going to go with that today. Okay, move my hand out of the way so you can see where I colored. And again, these pens, because they are opaque and bright, they are going to be your prominent color. Here, her little bow needs to be pink too. So I'm just coloring where Sabrina put, like where an icing would be. So we're using this as our icing, basically color. So there. And I'm going to come down. I'm just going to move my bag forward so you guys can see too. Down here, and we're going to say it's the same girl and her apron is pink. Sometimes you do need to add more than one layer. These can be a little scratchy. So you have to let the layer dry and then you can go back in and add a second layer. Don't have quite a nice smooth coloring. The other mediums you can use that are opaque that I'm going to try next time is if you've heard of the term gouache. That is like a combination between a watercolor and an acrylic paint. Could use just acrylics paints too. You're good with those. This is basically acrylic paint in a pen. So I colored her little bow again and her apron in this color. And like I said, I'm just doing spot coloring, so I'm not going to go to the whole image. I'm just going to go, okay, where do I want my pinks? So that's where I'm going to put all my pink. And then I'll come in with a teal color. I only have a limited amount of Copics, or not, sorry, of Poscas. So in a way, I have to almost do what's called spot coloring because I don't have all the colors. So it's limiting my palette, but that's okay, because then I'm not sitting there trying to decide for, 3 days what colors I want to use, which can happen to me sometimes. All right, so I have pink on her. I am going to come up, I just want to have a little bit of the pink on everything, but obviously on these images I might go a little less pink. So I'm just going to do the little candies on the snowman. I'm just doing every other one. Move my hand out of the way so you can see. And he's got a little candy in his hand to replace on the snowman. So up there too. And then I'm going to move my bag over and just this little candy cane and decide to add just pink to every other stripe. Okay. So that's my pink. I'm going to let that dry and I'm going to go to my next color. So my next color is this emerald green. I like it, but it's almost a little too dark for what I wanted. So I'm just going to come over here, just add a little pile of it. And then I have a cream color, an ivory color, and add that in a little pile. And I'm going to mix them together with a paintbrush. And yeah, you want a dry paintbrush. You don't want it too wet. This one will work. I'm just going to combine them together. Just to lighten it up, the yellow is just going to add a little bit more of a minty color instead of an emerald green. And I am going to start with this little guy, so I'm going to do his buttons and his little stripes down here. I'll give her little buttons, they'll have matching buttons. This is dry now, so I can add that in. I do definitely need to go back in with my pink again. His little eyebrows are going to have it too. Why not? Just add a little bit more to the mint in. Alright, so we talked about that. Now we can just kind of chat, because this is just doing the same thing. We're just kind of playing where we want things. I'm going to come down to this tree. Once I move my bag away. I think we're already talking about what's everyone's favorite Christmas movie. I think we talked about that last year, and it's the same people. But let me know. I'm always interested. I'm always curious to know what everyone's favorite Christmas movie is. I have to always think about it every year. I usually try and pick something obscure that nobody's even heard of, because I like to watch really old movies, not necessarily the new stuff. Although I should give the new ones a try. But one of my favorites is actually a British one. And it's, I gotta think of the name of it now. I do this every time. It's one of my favorites, but I forget the name of it. And it's about this pilot who is going down. His plane's been shot. It's war. And he's talking to this lady on the other line who's just trying to help him through his mishap. And he makes it down to the ground and he's alive. And it's by Powell and Pressburger is the name of the duo who made the movie. Like I said, I have to look at the name. Don't know why I can't remember it at the moment. Probably because I'm on the spot. But it's one of my faves. I obviously like White Christmas too, and Holiday Inn. really like those old movies are usually my favorite. Miracle on 34th Street. There's one where there's an abandoned house, and this neighborhood kind of comes and a Muppet Christmas Carol. That is a good one. Abandoned house, and all these people come live in this abandoned house, including the people whose house is abandoned for the Christmas, and they're all pretending to be different people than they are. That one's cute too. Good message on that one about kind of sharing and during the Christmas time. All right, so again, just going back to my pile here, I'm going to do might as well do the other stripes on here on the candy cane. Trying to think what I want to do for his suit. Maybe I'll do an ivory suit. Why not? And his hat, do I want to do in the green? Not really. I'm going to leave that. Then I'm going to come up to the snowman. And I'm going to do his outfit in the green. I do like the Muppets, so you're right. Muppet Christmas Carol, I think we talked about that too. Kind of a good one. Not kind of, it is. Some other animated ones I like. Arthur's Christmas. The British one, not Arthur, like PBS. I was going to say this little splotch is green. Why not? And I'll do the other little mint parts here. So they're pink and green mint. We're going to add white onto this, but the white will act as like our brightest color for sure once we're done. So I tend to leave my white to last, just kind of hit my highlights. Just going to do his little buttons down here. Like I said, I'm just only coloring what I want to color. Might as well do his hat too. Since I have a lot of this, the pattern on the hat's going to be disappeared because when I go to color over top of it, it's going to cover over it, which makes me a little sad. I like the little pattern that Sabrina has on here, but you can always add it back in if you feel confident once the paint's dry. And his little bauble. Add a little bit more of that blue color in, bluey green color, mint color. Thanks. Yeah, it's just, it's easy, right? And I'm just going, okay, where do I want this color? Like I said, it's not, this is very laid back compared to what I usually color, because as you guys know, I like no line coloring and stuff like that. But on a bag like this, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. It's going to turn out cute, and you know, it might be used for a year or two and then get tossed, because after a bit it's going to be. But it just makes something cute, and you made it yourself, which is cute, which is fun too. So I will have to clean that marker out, so I'm going to do that right now before I forget, because it is going to sit in that, and that's not good. So definitely clean after you're done, or your marker tip's going to not be usable after. And I mean, I don't really care about these pens so much. I tend to use them more for craft stuff than actual painting. Okay, I'm just trying to get all of that out. You can see there's a lot of ink on it. I'm just using water. Always dip it in some water too and let it sit for a bit. Just since there's no wood with these, so you don't have to worry about the wood getting damaged. Oh, another thing you could use on these, I bet, is the Tim Holtz watercolor pencils, because they're pretty opaque too. All right. Okay, so next I'm going to go to my ivory. That's the other one I have here. I'm going to go back down to the one with the suit, and I'm going to use this. It's going to be pretty bright, but It's more of a yellow than an ivory on the brown paper, but so a little, again, I like non-traditional colors for Christmas, so I'm okay with it being a little bit of a strange color combo for Christmas. The mints I think is Christmas anytime, so it's okay if we got a little bit of the yellow too. I'd say they're yellow mints. And then his little suit. I'm not going to avoid the buttons here because they're too small for me to avoid, so probably didn't have to draw them in. I'm going to draw them in after. But at least you guys can see how I fix my mistakes. Okay, well, a little bit of the pink went through that. I forgot to prime my pen too, so if it's kind of going on there without the paint coming out, you should prime your pen. And the bag's getting a little bit peely here, but if that's the case, leave it and come back. I wouldn't be surprised with you, yeah. Okay, for some reason this one probably is a little bit, like what I mean by peely is like the fibers are coming up a bit on this. So I gotta be a little more careful. Not sure why this one did it, but none of the other ones did. Maybe it's just the ink in this pen is a little different. I'm gonna come over here, do her little stripe in between her sleeves. And then I'll come back and like I said, I just feel like I need to add a little bit more pink over top of the pink that I've done. And I am trying to just leave the gingerbread just the color of the bag. So you'll see that I'm not really coloring them. Oh, I forgot him up here at the top here. He needs some. Oh, just add some yellow up there just so that I have some yellow there too. And she needs some too. What am I going to do for her? I am going to put yellow dots on the tree. Because that's the one nice thing about this, is once it's dry, like I said, you can layer ink over top of each other. There. That way I have a little bit of yellow on each image. Actually, I'm going to put this up in the hat too. Maybe I'll just add the shapes that were almost there before. Yeah, there we go. I like that. Glad I did that. It sort of matches our zigzaggy pattern on our background. Okay. And last thing, I didn't have an orange Posca, so I'm going to show you that you can use your clean color markers on here, and these are going to be transparent compared to the opaqueness of our Poscas, of course. But just to get his nose orange, I thought, let's just use one of these, and then I went, oh, you can use these, so you may have to choose, like, again, darker colors, but it works. Again, I know I'm pretty zoomed out, but my camera's having issues. Well, of course, it's your favorite tree in the house. You and your neon, me and my purple, I get it. And then I don't hardly use purple on things, so I think I have a lot of purple, black, and red on my tree. Kind of different. I am going to take a gel pen now that has white ink in it. We're almost done the coloring part. And wherever Sabrina kind of has an edge popping out, I love that these look 3D with the gingerbread. I'm going to use this just to add kind of a highlight to where she's popped up. You'll see where she's got that 3D edge. Probably should be darker because it's on the sides, but yeah, I'm just going to add it as a highlight. Don't like the look of that, you don't have to necessarily do it, right? But I think it just adds a little something. I'm going to add a little bit in the middle here. I'm using it more like it's maybe icing, royal icing popping out of the gingerbread. And it just adds a little something because it'll make our images maybe a little bit more 3D too if we use this. And of course they need a little bit of white in their eyes too, I think. Just give them a little bit of a highlight. Add a little highlight on his nose. Ooh, what's the second challenge? I don't even think... Oh, the first challenge was layered stencils, was it not? Sorry, I was preparing for my class when you posted the first one. Hopefully something like this. I layered stencils. I layered the mask stencil, and I layered the GO3 stencil. So something like that. If you're following along or you decide you want to try something like this later on, it might work for the challenge. I forgot I was going to come back in with the pink. That's okay. Do it after. I want to make sure that she's got the highlight over where her little crack on her head is, because that's one of my favorite parts. And then I'll come down, move my bag down, and add it to the side of him. I'm not sure I'm liking the ivory on his suit, just because it did get a little bit like that, but we're going to leave it be for now and see if maybe if I come back in and add another layer, it'll work. But I don't want to ruin it quite yet. If I do it now, I think it'll probably peel some more. Oh, and he needs highlight in his eyes. I've got them up here. Don't forget to play along. It helps spark your creativity with the challenges. That was my favorite. I love doing challenges. Trying to figure out different ways to do things. But you do the challenges, you can win stuff. So don't forget to participate. Oh, and then move my bag up a bit more so you can see. And I'm just going in with the tree edge here. But adding these pastels, I just think they look like icing. So it's, it's, even though I have a limited palette here, I'm finding it fun because I don't have to overthink. I'm not doing a lot of blending. It's just fun to do something a little bit more simple this time. And then one last thing after we're done, just going to add a little bit of white in the middle here too. Is I'm going to add the masks of the characters back in, and I am going to ink around them. Although I don't mind just leaving it like that. But I did want to add a little bit of the Tranquil Teal in. Okay, I'll just go in with my pink and then I'll make a decision here. So just going back in with my pink, just tidying up some edges here around the buttons. Like I said, if you lost your lines and you went over them too much, you can always draw them back in, like I did earlier. I'm just going to add a little bit more on her bow. Down here. Her apron's pretty good. I'll just add a little heart in her apron with the pink, just to show you guys that I can go over top of pink with another color. Oh, except I'm not zoomed in. Oh no, don't do that. Uh-oh. Oh, just one moment, guys. Cancel. You guys still there? I'll know in a second. Okay, good. Yeah. All right. You can see I added just a tiny little bow there too. Or a little heart, I mean. But you can see it kind of close up now. Let's see, I'm going to just do the yellow on him. A little bit more of the ivory. Let's see if I can cover up my mistake. And dip into my pile that I already have of ink. There we go. And it might not work. It's okay if it doesn't. Not really. I think the bag peeled a little bit there. Might have just been a bad spot. Oh well. It's cute enough. I'm not worried about it. I needed to put his buttons back on, but I think if I did that, then I'll mess up the bag. So I just realized I didn't do his button up here. I'm going to do it in pink. Why not? And I missed her eyes. So it's just kind of going back and forth. Little dots in her eyes. And then I'm going to do her cheeks too. Her cheeks. Probably off camera this, but I'm just adding little dots for their cheeks because I usually do with my characters. Usually add eyebrows, and I just dipped my finger in the ink. But in this case, with gingerbread, I'm not going to add eyebrows. One guy has eyebrows already, so this guy has eyebrows. Oh. And then dots in their cheeks. Alright. Oh, and the snowman, I missed a whole section here. Royal icing. I guess the snowman probably should be more white and brown on the edges, but that's okay. We'll just say he's kind of a naked gingerbread man right now. Okay. I'm gonna zoom out again. Sorry, guys. Zoom in. Oh, now I'm really zoomed in. Okay. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Oh, that works. All right. So, gotten this far, and I'm trying to decide if I add the Tranquil Teal over or if I'm worried that it might make a mess. So, I think what I'll do is I'll use the Tranquil Teal for my tag. I'm just going to make a pretty quick, simple tag. But I want to make these postage edges look a little bit more like Post-it stamps. So I'm going to go in with my white gel pen. I'm just following my lines that are there. This one doesn't look like a postage stamp now. Oops. It's supposed to be square, not circles. That's okay. Just doing adding doodles. You could always bring your mask in. That's probably what I should have done. So that it would look more like the actual mask. That's okay though. They're just gonna be whimsical borders anyway. Just so that they stand out against all this red. There we go. Follow the shape. There. Just so that I'm framing them up a little bit better. So I'll be a little better about framing this one up. You know what? There's just a lot of ink. Okay. No worries. Thanks, Kim. Forgot she was doing 2 projects, so I'm a little bit going into the next class. So if you guys want to go to the next class, you can. I am making just a very simple tag with just the accessory stamps. And it'll just say to and from on it. So, guys, I'm almost done here. If you guys want to go to the other class, I understand completely. But if I had cleaned off my masks, I would put them back in place so I could just draw around them. But they are right now full of ink. So, just to speed us along, I'm just going to use the gel pen. Well, it's not really much of a postage, but that's fine. Yep, no worries, Michelle. Thanks. Like I said, I'm almost done. The tag's going to just be a quick one. since everyone kind of knows how to make tags. It's more gift bags and how to decorate a gift bag. Hope I inspire you guys with some ideas here, even if it's a little wonky. Yeah, it wouldn't be a Patti Live without it being a little bit on the wonky side. But thanks for all those who have joined in and watched me. Again, this will go on YouTube later, so feel free to catch the replay. But I think it's pretty cute. Like I said, I'm going to have to clean up some of my lines that are down over here and a bit on the top. But I'm happy with that for now. So, my tag. Now, I'm going to grab my little die that I have. I'm just going to quickly grab a piece of craft paper. Or you can even just use the gift bag that I have over here and just cut out a piece. But I have a lot of craft paper, so might as well just use it up. We'll keep it in the craft family. Right there. Perfect. I'm just going to be right back. I'm just going to put this through my die cut machine. Okay, and I'm just going to quickly, with my Misty, it's a very small tag because I want most of my images to show up. So, for the front of it, I was going to put the sentiment, but now I'm going to have to see if that'll fit. Oh yeah, it will. Okay, I'm going to go 'tis the season to bake cookies. This will be a gift package for cookies. And I'm going to stamp that in the Tranquil Teal, which is going to be dark on this. One thing, because I did say I was going to use the white ink for something. What you can do is you can take your white ink, pigment ink, stamp the sentiment. So again, I'm just using Lawn Fawn Yeti ink that I've had forever. And I'm going to stamp that. And that looks cute just by itself, but by doing this, it'll make the color brighter on the tag. So I'm just going to heat set that for a few moments so that I don't get too much. So it just kind of seeps into the tag a little bit. And then I'm going to clean my stamp, because that's important. I don't want to try and get too much white ink onto my ink pad. And this stuff needs a good cleaning because it's almost an oil-based white ink. Like I said, I'm more worried about getting the white ink onto my blue, so I just give it a good clean first. But this is when the Misty does come in handy, or your stamping platform of whatever choice, because then I can restamp over top of the white. Add some water. Okay, then I'm going to grab my Tranquil Teal. I got no white ink on there, good. And I'm going to just stamp over top of the white. You may have to do this more than once, but it's making it look pastel. Probably can't really tell by the video, but I can tell in real life that it looks more like a mint on the tag than Tranquil Teal. Okay, now let that dry. I'm going to heat set it. again. It's subtle, but I like that it's that mint color to match with our mint on our bag. Okay. I can flip this over, and I'm going to take my accessory stamps now. I'm just going to use the little gingerbread people. I'm still pulling a small block. I have one. There's one. I think I'm just going to stamp them in the white pigment ink, just so they show up. You can always do multiple colors. You can always just do Marvelous Mocha if it bugged you that they weren't in, you know, a brown color. But the white just shows up so nicely on the craft. So take my little guy. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put this one. So let's put you in the corner here. Stamp. Well, I overstamped, but that's okay. And I'm going to put this little girl one over in the corner here. Stamp. Oops, missed. Darn. This might be a bad idea. Don't do what I'm about to do. It's pigment ink, so it does wipe off. Probably not a good idea, though. I probably should have just stamped the gingerbread first. That's okay. Should go up there instead. That's better. Then I'm going to put those two back. Sorry, I know I'm not zoomed in right now, but hopefully you can see what I did there. They do need cleaning, but I'll clean them after. Always clean your pigment inks off, because if you forget, and again, you stamp into a different color, you're going to get white ink on where you don't want it. And take the mint. Sorry. And I'm just going to quickly stamp that in our Berry Bliss. That's why the accessory stamps are so nice sometimes. It's just able to just kind of go in and just do quick stamping. There. I'll zoom in. Sorry, I know I'm so far out again. It's just zooming in and zooming out is not the easiest on Facebook right now. One of these days I'm going to invent a camera so that, or not camera, a remote, so you guys can see better what we're doing. And so we can zoom in and out without having to go and try and figure it out the way it is. But you can see how I just have this cute little tag. And then on the back I'll write to and from. The pigment ink needs to dry with the little gingerbread. So I'm just going to punch a hole in there. And I'll let that dry. I'll write to and from after. We do have, I believe, one stamp set has a to and from it on it. I'm just taking my crocodile. Figuring out what size hole I want. That looks good. And then I'll put some twine on there. Just gotta go grab some. We're almost done. Christmas. Any twine in here? I just have some natural twine that I've had hemp cord forever. You can always dye this because it's that beige color. I'm not going to today. I'm just going to keep it natural. If I can find the end. One of them. Okay, well, I'll just cut. There, now I have a natural end. Oh, don't put that in your ink. Actually, before I get this ink everywhere that I don't want it, I'm just going to wipe it down. So it's just not so wet. I'm just going to move the whole thing. You just see me getting that on the wrong spot. And then zoom out again. Come on, let me zoom out. Thank you. Here, you could always add little bells to your tag. Just for time, and probably won't. But I'm just going to make a little knot at the top. And there's a little loop at the bottom. I make mine extra long to begin with, because I never know how long I want it. And I'll feed the loop through the back of the tag. And then I put my finger up here and loop through here. There, and I got a tag for my bag. And it can be as quick as that. You can be done the challenge. So, you know, you made a little tag for your bag, for a bag. It doesn't even have to be a bag you decorated. You could always just say, hey, I made some Christmas tags so that I can know what, you know, my presents are going to be. But you could just use these little accessory stamps. You don't have to necessarily run out and color something. But just quick. I'm just going to tie it to the bag here. Another reason why I don't always put ink at the top corner is so that my tag can kind of just stay over here. And I don't tie things in bows because I'm not good at it. So, something like that. Anyway, so other than fixing my little mistake here on the side, I'm pretty happy overall with it. I hope you guys enjoyed my class. I think everyone's gone to the other one, and that's perfectly fine. I'm just going to do a quick overview of it, and then we're good to go. Hope everyone has a good Saturday. I hope at least inspired you. Even if I did things kind of quick and not usually my typical style. Like I said, for gift bags, something like this, perfectly fine. I'm happy. It looks cute. And I hope this inspires you. So, again, I use the GO3 stencil. The postage stamp stencil is on sale. Same with Yummy Christmas for this weekend. And if you're watching this on YouTube after, they may not be on sale after this weekend. But feel free to look at our prices on our stuff. It's not too bad. So it's pretty good. We're in Canadian funds. So you can always order and pay Canadian fees. So that's good too. And I hope everyone has a fun Christmas in July. Have a great day, everyone.